Just a quick note before the episode begins. I was having audio issues this week, so if my audio sounds a bit off, that's going to be why. Um, and if the ending of the podcast sounds a bit rushed, um, it was because Yamcha had to leave quite quickly. So yeah, okay. Enjoy the episode.
Okay, welcome to Flushcast. I'm Yamcha.
Okay, I'm Bullet.
I'm Michael Caine. You may have seen me in such classic films as The Dark Knight Rises and Tenet. And this week, we have someone else on. Why am I introducing the guest? This is your guy, Yamcha.
Okay, the guest for today is...
Hi, my name's Jones Lemons. I'm sorry about that awful impression. I can't do a John. He's the hardest Beatle to impersonate.
Okay, so today we are talking about The Wind Rises. Just how so happens to be my favorite movie.
Well, it's a big coincidence that our first three movies were our three favorite movies. You know, one for each.
Well, wow. So, what did you guys think of it?
Bullet, you go first.
Why me?
Well, you're the next one up, for the next episode.
I liked it. It's it was good. It's probably my least favorite of the three Ghibli films I've seen, but it was still good. The animation was really nice in particular.
I honestly really liked it. I am still like getting into the Ghibli movies. I only just started getting into them this year. But I really thought I just the animation is absolutely gorgeous, but I mean when it's Ghibli, it's kind of expected to have really good animation. And I think something that really, something else that really caught me was the airplane engine sounds themselves. I might be wrong on this, but I don't think they used actual recordings of prop planes. I think those were all like a cappella, like people making those.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know whose idea that was. I don't know if it was Miyazaki's or just somebody in the production, but that is probably one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen in a movie. Especially with how the idea is, like the whole theme of it is like dreaming and the imagination. It sort of creates this dreamlike idea, sort of. And I think as a biopic, it's just interesting to kind of frame it that way.
Yeah. Sam?
It was pretty good. I liked it. That was the first Ghibli film I've seen, so I'm behind you all on that whole area of films at this point.
Something I did right after was like I watched it since it was is it still Miyazaki's last movie? I don't know if he did something recently.
His next movie he recently came out of retirement.
Oh, he did?
It was supposed to be his last, but he's coming out with another one.
Oh shit.
Okay, so after watching it, I went back and I watched Castle of Cagliostro, and that was actually the first time I watched that movie too. And it was interesting seeing the difference 30-something years would make, because not only is he probably had more experience after all that time, but it's interesting seeing how the technology changed in terms of production.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see how the progress, like when I watched all the Ghibli movies, I'd suggest watching them in order that they came out, because you can just see how the progress of the animation, the production, the storytelling just goes up each time.
Now I need to go in reverse order. Now I need to go backwards. I need to work my way back.
Well, the three I've seen I've seen My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, and Wind Rises, and they're quite spaced apart in time. So I think I got a good overview of how it's evolved from those three.
Those three are in my top three.
The way I got it was weirdly because actually Wind Rises was my first movie too. So Sam, you're not the only one. You're not alone here. But I've sort of like studied a lot of this stuff, like the studio ahead of time, like read up on some of the history and watched some clips and some studies of their movies. So it was sort of interesting, like finally being able to watch a movie of theirs all the way through. So, and yeah, there's something about like just watching clips, but then watching the thing all the way through is there's just something about it that just makes it feel all the more, for lack of a better word, magic.
Yeah, really expands on it more when you watch it
Mm-hmm.
fully through.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna completely or throw off the entire group that we have going so far, but I really liked the grass.
Oh, the grass was beautiful.
The grass really stood out to me.
Miyazaki movies, the natural, like the all the natural parts,
The
like,
watercolor backgrounds are just
oh,
beautiful.
they're gorgeous. I mean, the credits are just show those, so it was like
Hmm.
I kind of watched them all the way through just to admire the backgrounds.
The
Um,
song over the credits was really good, I thought.
oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
it was. Yeah, it was just really relaxing.
Yeah.
all day today I had the theme song, like the main theme that they play over and over again, is stuck in my head.
Yeah, is that based on an actual piece of music, or is that something made for the film?
I think it's unique.
Okay, because it sounded vaguely familiar to me.
It might be because there's the French poem that's at the beginning,
Yeah,
so it might be something French. I don't know.
I thought it sounded Italian. I guess it was because of the caproni stuff
Yeah,
in there.
probably.
By the way, actually, that it was interesting. The caproni plane, that flying boat. It was interesting. I read about that ahead of time, so seeing that in the movie with the context of the actual history behind it was really interesting. I think he actually got it to work too.
Yeah, I really like how Miyazaki takes the story of the real life Jiro Horikoshi and
Mm-hmm.
just like take makes it and makes a really good story out of it with all these unique things that it might be not very accurate to the actual
Mm-hmm.
Jiro, but he executes it really well.
It's like well, I think, as a biopic, it's interesting because this isn't something that he usually did, because Miyazaki was always more of he did like fairy tales and fantasy movies. So I think it's interesting seeing him do a historical drama, but injecting those fantasy elements in there, like during the dream sequences. I think it's interesting having that unique touch to them. It's like, I don't know. I think I always liked when bio stories do that. Like there was a great comic I read about Goya that did something similar.
Let's be honest here. Most biopic movies that play it extremely close to the source material
Yeah.
really don't work that well. Like,
No, I'd rather watch Amadeus over Alexander any day.
Well, because real life isn't very well written,
yeah,
so
unless the story is really interesting, like interesting enough to not need editing.
It's hard
yeah,
to get that, like, and it's hard to get the full story because like you're gonna have to talk to other people, and there's gonna be conflicting like accounts, and there's gonna be biases that you
yeah.
have to take into account.
So I think making a more, I guess, yeah, magical biopic is a
Mm-hmm.
really interesting move, and I think it sets it apart from other biopic films, that have
Mm-hmm.
been made.
Something I also really liked. I can't remember the actual story. I may be wrong about this, but I think he also was inspired by a famous folk story in terms of the actual story behind it. Because I think the whole love story subplot I think is actually based on that, but I might be wrong.
Most of Miyazaki's stories are based off of books that
Mm-hmm.
he's read, like Castle in the Sky is based off of Laputa.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's usually going off of stuff. But what inspired him to make The Wind Rises was a quote by the actual Jiro
Mm.
Horikoshi.
I think something else that's the style. Like I think of the earthquake. The earthquake sequence
Oh,
is also really interesting.
that was a really really intense scene.
Oh yeah,
I remember the first time I watched it, I was very confused because it was like I don't know, it just seemed out of place. But now I don't know, I really like it now.
it's so sudden, but I mean, actual earthquakes are too. But I
Hmm.
think it's the way it was animated was, it's not like an actual earthquake. It's very very stylized with how, like, the railroad kind of goes into like these waves while their trains like going over it, or how the buildings are sort of lifting up and down, almost like a cutout animation.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, it's super stylized and just
It feels like extra violent. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
And the destruction is very in depth.
And the fact that they animated in like I think it was like the tectonic plates like almost ripping, almost like this sort of I can't really describe it. I don't know like the way almost the movement of the tectonic plates that would cause an earthquake. It was brilliant.
Overall, the visuals of the movie were the strongest part for me, I think.
For me, the character of Naoko was the strongest for me because Miyazaki's mother had tuberculosis, so that must have been very hard for him to make the movie.
Yeah.
And then his mother died from tuberculosis.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the movie, I was in tears. Just
oh yeah, that ending is just absolutely beautiful.
It's the first movie that I remember making me actually cry.
I think mine was The Sound of Music.
Are we getting into spoilers in this? I guess.
I mean, it's kind of
we have done for the
might
last
as well.
two,
Yeah,
so
so-
why not?
Yeah.
I guess. Well, you could spoil Alien and Goodfellas. This is.
Yeah. I mean, those movies
Who
have been
knows?
around for what, 40 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Goodfellas is 30. Aliens is or Alien is like 40 something.
42, I think.
Something I like about the movie is the fact that it kind of just like I think the time skips are very effective in it. Like I normally in stuff like this I would get annoyed, but I think the way it's done here is really effective, and it sort of like makes the whole like event, like what's going on in the world, in the background. So it's like a lot of it is stuff that people watching it probably already know what happened. So having that, I think sort of having it as like an almost backdrop, like it's sort of interesting seeing it presented that way.
I didn't find the time skips extremely noticeable.
Me
so
neither. No.
I really liked that.
Mm-hmm. They were easy to understand. It wasn't like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy where I had no idea what the fuck was happening.
I haven't seen that.
But it's okay. Not my favorite.
Has that got Gary Oldman in it?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. But I think the time skips are, they're very effective, and they're like when they happen, like they're not jarring or anything like that. It flows very organically.
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Back to the earthquake. That's actually, remember, it's based on an actual earthquake that happened in Japan.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one, but it was like very destructive and stuff.
Yeah. It would have been 1929 if I had to guess when that happened, because I think just after that they were talking about the Depression.
Yeah, I think so. One thing I do wish with the Depression was that they expanded on that more. I think there's a lot of opportunities that they could have gone with.
Yeah. And a character that I found really interesting. He was in the English dub, he was voiced by Werner Herzog.
Yes, I wanted to bring him up.
Yeah. I found him really interesting. It was like
I like the voice.
Oh yeah, no, that guy has got one of the most unique voices.
It's so good.
Anything. Yeah. But like he's kind of a great character because he's just not there that long, and so he's like there and then he's gone, but like you don't really know his full story, and you kind of don't you kind of don't expect to. He's like one of those kind of people that you just meet and like for like a week and you're friends with him, and then he's gone and you never hear from him again, and I think that's sort of brilliant that way.
I also really liked the boss character.
Oh yeah, no, he was great.
Yeah.
He was great.
At first he reminded me of Mr. Incredible's boss at the beginning of The Incredibles, the one he throws through like 20 walls. And then he reminded me of I don't remember his name, but it's the short dude in the Lorax movie.
Oh, fucking, we'll let it die, guy.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. I've blocked that movie out of my mind.
Yeah, I try to as well.
He reminded me of those two characters.
I just find it funny that we're talking about a movie by one of the greatest animation studios in the world, and then we just had to mention Illumination. I really liked the boss character because I think there's something about Miyazaki's character designs. He always has very. I think his character designs are always very much like. I don't. This isn't a bad thing. This is actually a really good thing. I think they're very, very kind of extreme in their own way. If that makes sense. So, like the boss characters, like his movements are very jerky. He always kind of has a permanent angry face. He's like,
I like how
yeah,
his hair flops every time he walks.
yeah. He's got the floppy hair, or like when he's working at his desk, like at his drafting table, the paper that he's working on kind of flops over him while he's trying to keep it pinned down. The scene where Jiro is walking downstairs, there's like a couple just talking and like they're laughing, and it's just like, oh my god, that's just such a nice detail to have. And it's like, I don't know, again, I think organic is the best way to describe any of Miyazaki's work. Is it just like feels organic. You mentioned earlier the grass movement being just like amazing. I I think the movement in general is I, it's mesmerizing in a good way. Like it's just like you kind of feel like you're in the it just feels like you're instantly in the you instantly feel relaxed and calm. Like even the airplane engines, like I think at the beginning there's like the part where he has the dream where he's flying, and the way the airplane engine moves with like the exhaust caps flapping and the propellers moving. I I the word that comes to mind is just organic. It just feels organic.
Hmm. Yeah.
I would agree.
I mean, that's with all Miyazaki films. He just puts so much work into it, and especially with his first Ghibli, Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind.
Mhm.
I think they call it oars. They're like big creatures, and they just look so. The way they move is so cool.
Mm-hmm. Or like even again with Cagliostro, there's like this movement, like the way the characters walk, like the characters walk, and like the villain has this army, and like there's this part where the villain's army just kind of like swarms around, but they just like move without, like they just come in without even moving. And I think it's like it sort of adds to this contrast where it's like the villains are very off-putting because they don't move like actual people usually do. So I think Miyazaki's just got this great eye for movement. It's yeah, I'm honestly jealous.
Yeah, it inspires me to want to try to make something like that. It's just
Yeah,
so wonderful.
I would like to read Nausicaa eventually because I'm interested to see how he does comics or manga in terms of how he lays out movement there.
Did he originally make that as a manga?
Yes, I think he serialized it and then he adapted the first two books into a movie.
I knew Porco Rosso was like a mini manga.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it was original. The concept was
Mm.
originally a manga, but then he decided to make it into a film.
The thing about Miyazaki is he's got the he kind of follows the Chuck Jones camp of like the best way to like kind of grow as an artist is to just read like anything. Like because he seems to take a lot of influence from just about everything, like mythology, fairy tales, like architecture, and airplane designs. I mean, didn't he? His dad owned an airplane factory during World War II, didn't he?
Yeah, his father. Yeah, and then his whole life he's loved planes, and he's been
Mm-hmm.
fascinated about it. And that's why in most Miyazaki films you can see there's some plane in it or
Mm-hmm.
flying thing.
I also really like the ending of like the movie where it's just him and Caproni just walking in through a field, and Caproni says, "Oh, you should come to my house. I can open this really great bottle of wine." It's just like a really, I, it's just a really kind of welcoming ending, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like there's just this sense of like two equals just kind of walking off. I don't know. It's hard to describe. I liked the 10 years thing that that Caproni mentions as well. It's just interesting.
That was interesting that he put it in there because Miyazaki, he just works and works and works, and then he puts that in there. Kind of confused me.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. It's like Miyazaki, a guy with 60-year something career, puts in like artists tend to only work for 10 years. I'm like, dude, been working since the 50s.
So, ratings
Perfect 10.
Yamcha, go.
are a 10.
Bullet.
I gave it an 8.
I'm probably gonna go about an 8 as well.
Okay, guys, so Falcon and the Winter Soldier trailer dropped at the Super Bowl this Sunday, past Sunday. What do you think? I mean, it just looks generic to me, in my opinion.
I think it looks good.
Aside from the, I don't even remember what it was at this point, but there's like the post-credit stinger or post-trailer stinger
Yeah.
where they always have like that joke, and I thought the joke was so unfunny it made me want to cancel my Disney Plus.
Oh my god, okay, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that joke, when that happened, I was like, get to the
What was the
fucking
joke
point. It was like, oh, you're having a staring contest. I thought this
Oh
joke-
yeah.
Like, I may not be, like, I don't really watch the MCU, but I was under the impression that those two characters liked each other.
It feels like something like a 6-year-old would write, like, oh, they're having a staring contest and it's really funny.
Yeah, that bit was not
Oh,
that
it made
great,
me
but
just, like, it just made me wince and just go, get to the fucking point already.
I think the rest of the trailer looks good though.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks
I think
alright.
those two actors have good chemistry. It looks like an actual movie, which I think is good.
Yeah,
Yeah, the action we saw looked really good.
Is this a movie or a show?
it's a show.
It's a show,
It's coming
Okay.
in March or April. What is it?
and that's a good sign though that you can't tell necessarily.
Yeah, that is totally is. Yeah, it shows the fact that I had to ask if it was a movie or in a show is a good sign, because that sort of shows that the gap is closing in terms of like production, on budgets.
It's really good because with live action shows, it's a big thing that they struggle with. It's
Mhm.
just there's a clear depiction between shows and movies.
Yeah, as someone who watches Doctor Who, that's like the most apparent. Like, it's just like it's like, oh yeah, they don't have as much money as a big budget movie.
Oh god, going back to watch like the Davies era, god, the CGI is trash.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh god, like what's the one where Mark Gatiss turns into a giant
Oh
scorpion
god,
man?
yeah, that looks awful. Is that the
Oh,
Lazarus
it's
experiment?
bad. Yeah, Lazarus experiment. Oh god, that one's bad. Oh, and it's weird. The practical effects on the show have been consistently amazing, but the CG, holy shit.
Yeah. Oh god, I looked up a pic. Oh god, that's horrifying. That's like worse than the Scorpion King.
To be fair, they had about a quarter of the budget of the
Yeah,
Scorpions
true.
King.
So Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I mean, I don't really have much to say about it. I just
Yeah.
It's a new trailer. I'm sure it'll be fine, and then I'll forget about it.
Captain America's my favorite Avenger, so that's why I'm probably more excited for this than you guys are.
I mean, I'm pretty excited. I like Winter Soldier a lot, so.
I think my general reaction is sort of the same with just about any Marvel announcement. It's really just that's not my thing.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, if this is going more for, and it looks like it is, if it's going more for the Winter Soldier Civil War feeling like those two movies had, then I'm gonna be all on board.
It seems especially Civil War.
Yeah,
Seems to be.
that as long as I'm all on board for that because I like those two movies, and putting that in a smaller scale I think will actually work better for that theming.
Yeah.
Was Zemo the guy? Did Zemo come back for the trailer, or was that just some guy?
Yeah, that's Zemo.
Yeah, I saw someone with a purple mask, so I assume that's Zemo.
Yeah.
I like that. They're going with his comic look now.
Yeah. He's one of the best
Yeah.
Marvel villains, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm in the minority. I actually really like him. He's one of the more interesting ones where he like doesn't just punch the main characters. Like the people just shit on the two more interesting villains, which would be the Mandarin from Iron Man 3 and then Civil War's Zemo. Because
I like the Mandarin.
I like the Mandarin too, because he's just a fucking loser.
It's just some guy.
Yeah.
I love it when villains are just some asshole. Like, this is not even like being sarcastic. I just love it when they're just dicks, and it's just like, like Belloc. He's just kind of an asshole, and I don't know. So, like, I mean, I'll take, I like having Kylo Ren every so once in a while, who's like a character that's very, like, it's kind of a tortured soul, and like you kind of want to see him get redeemed. But I also just love it when a character is just like twirling a mustache, wearing a top hat, and tying someone to the railroad tracks.
Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna move us on to our next topic.
So next we're gonna briefly touch on the Gina Carano situation that just happened a couple days ago.
So basically, Gina Carano is an actress. She's not a very good actress, but she plays Cara Dune in The Mandalorian. And essentially, over the past few months, since around the time season 3 premiered, I believe this started, or season 2, sorry. Around the time season 2 started, she started getting, I guess, how would you put it?
Political.
Political. Yeah, the P word. She started getting political, and I mean, you could put up with actors being political and stuff, and I think Disney does a lot too. For example, Chris Pratt, he's openly
Yeah.
a Republican. Very open about a lot of that stuff, but he hasn't been fired from Guardians of the Galaxy. And do you know why?
Because he didn't promote harmful shit.
Yeah, well, first of all, he isn't openly transphobic.
Yeah.
That's one thing that plays into it. That it's a pretty big thing, especially for Pedro Pascal, who has a sibling who is transgender. And if you don't know, Pedro Pascal is actually the lead actor of The Mandalorian. Anyways, after that, she also started getting into the Trump stuff. A lot of QAnon-like stuff where
Yeah.
she's talking about election fraud and Trump actually winning and shit like that.
And she was like a anti-masker
Anti-masker.
and all
Yeah,
that shit. Yeah.
And you can see, obviously, if you just scroll through her tweets, you're going to see the stuff, but if you go into the likes, that just really uncovers what she believes.
And the thing, like the final straw was yesterday, or a couple of days ago with the she put it on Instagram, didn't she?
She compared being a Republican in 2021 to being a Jewish person in Nazi Germany.
My God, that's just the stupidest fucking comparison.
I mean, I'm surprised it took her this long
Oh God,
to
it's so fucking dumb.
to make that comparison.
How much are you
But,
willing to bet she compared getting fired to 1984 as well?
Yeah, 1984. But the thing is, we don't actually know if this was the straw that broke the camel's back, because if you notice, it wasn't like Lucasfilm came out and said she was fired. It was somebody reached out for comment and they said, "Oh yeah, she's not on The Mandalorian anymore." So this may have been something that happened weeks ago that no one reached out to Lucasfilm.
But I will say, I think the way Gina, the way she's been reacting about this kind of stuff, and the general, like, the way things line up, I do believe that was what happened. It was that her promoting all this harmful shit online was what got her canned.
I don't know though, because I don't know if they'd be able to make that full decision unless they decided, okay, if there's one more incident, then we fire her. But within a day to make that call normally would just be a little soon.
Unless they made it sooner. Unless they did talk about it sooner, and that, like, what she just said was basically what did her in terms of working on the show.
There were definitely other, I think this incident, with the Instagram post has made the situation worse for her, because over the past, I think it was yesterday, Hasbro quietly announced that they would not be producing any more Cara Dune merchandise. So they've pulled their reissues of the 6-inch Black Series figure and the 3 3/4-inch Vintage Collection figure off shelves. So you can no longer pre-order those, which is interesting. And then I think there's some other I'm sure there's other shit going on with her, being removed from other stuff. I would not be surprised if the Lego ATST Raider gets pulled off shelves.
Yeah, Lego tries to stay away from politics at all costs.
Well, that's old enough as is. It's been on shelves for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, it's still selling decently, but they've already got a cheaper Mandalorian set on shelves right now that'll most definitely be more popular.
Mm-hmm. Don't they have two? I thought
So-
there was another one.
Well, they've got the Razor Crest, which is like $130.
I thought there was like a
But then they have
Mando
the-
set.
Yeah, there's the Tatooine one, which is like $30,
Yeah.
which has the updated Beskar Mando. So why wouldn't you get that one?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that gets pulled off shelves alongside, like, any plans for Funko Pops will
Mhm.
probably be canceled.
I would,
Posters, shit like that.
yeah, probably her character probably being in the spin-off, the Republic Commando spin-off.
Well, that show was apparently just about her.
Ooh,
Was anyone looking forward to that?
not really.
Apparently at the last minute before the Disney investor call, the decision was made to no longer announce that she will be leading the show.
Really?
It wasn't decided that she wouldn't be leading the show, but it was decided that she would not be announced on that day to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So they definitely were in some sort of talks at that point
Yeah.
about what was going on.
But it's good to see them taking action about this.
Yeah, because for the past few years, with like the harassment of like the sequel trilogy cast and
Mm-hmm.
actors, it's just been, a bit much.
Yeah. 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 And those same people that did harass Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Kelly Marie Tran are probably the same people sticking up for Gina.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, it's a shit situation for Lucasfilm because now they basically have to probably rewrite a bunch of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm assuming she was planned to be in it.
Yeah.
I don't think they should recast. I think they should just retire the character.
Yeah.
Just give a passing mention to something. I don't know.
I think it would be easier just to write the character off instead of recasting, because you know how Star Wars fans are so weird about some of this stuff. Like when a character gets recast or something gets changed like halfway through production, they get so like pissy about it. And could you imagine a recasting of a character on a show? What kind of
So it would just feel
uproar
weird to me if they I don't know why. It's one thing recasting someone like Han in a different movie, but when it's a different season of a TV show,
Yeah.
that feels different to me. I don't know about you guys. That would just feel weird to me.
Yeah, like if you're binging seasons, go one season to another.
How like prominent a character is Kara? I don't watch the show, so I really don't know.
Out of the recurring characters, she's definitely the biggest one.
But yeah, so assuming that she would be in season 3, I would guess that she'd only be in 1 or 2 episodes, so they probably would only have to rewrite those episodes unless they made a bunch of references to her.
She's in 6 episodes in the entire series,
Okay, and that's
if I recall correctly. So yeah, so
okay, so
I mean, she does have a decent amount of episodes.
mhm.
It's not like she's like a core part of the
Yeah,
show.
she's not like how Han or Finn is in the
No, and
trilogies.
I think part of that is just how the show functions. It doesn't have,
Yeah.
aside from Mando and Baby Yoda, there's not like a
Or not even Baby Yoda anymore.
aside from Mando, there's not like a recurring character throughout the entire group.
Yeah, do you want to move on?
Should we?
Do you want to move on then?
Yeah, move on.
So next we have a series of mini topics: favorite game from our childhood, favorite movies from our childhood, and favorite shows from our childhood. For my favorite game from my childhood, I probably have to go with Lego Marvel Superheroes, because I've just played the hell out of that. I mean, I had almost all the characters, really fun. Played it for hours on end.
I'd beaten that, but my save file corrupted on the Wii U.
That happened with me in Lego Lord of the Rings,
Oh, that sucks.
but that was because my brother spit in my Xbox 360. So,
Wait, what?
yeah, he spit in the like little vent, on the
Yeah.
remodeled 360. There's like that vent, like on the side.
Why?
Yeah, he spit into that, and it like wiped the save file because he got pissed at MLB.
You got pissed
So he fucking
at MLB
Yeah.
of all games.
yeah, and then he just spit into it.
It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't like an online Call of Duty game or anything like
Nope.
that. It was an MLB game.
Yeah, it was MLB baseball like 13 or something.
Oh my
How do
god.
you get pissed at a fucking baseball game?
Baseball's
listen,
like the
those
most
games
chill
get very
sport.
competitive. You should see how much shit has gotten broken in my house because of sports games. Bullet, what's your game?
Which is another Lego game, Lego Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which is my favorite Lego Star Wars game.
All right, I got a bit of a personal history with this one.
But
I played this game for 10 hours straight one day and I threw up.
Oh.
Jesus.
I feel like with the Lego games, you could probably get like motion sickness from them because the camera
I
controls
did.
are weird.
And it was on the Wii too. So.
Oh yeah. Does anyone? I don't know if it's just me. Does anyone have like problems of depth perception on Wii games?
Not Wii games, but with Lego games, definitely.
Yes.
I got Super Mario 3D All Stars for Christmas, and my girlfriend and I have been playing it, and I struggled with Galaxy because like it's like the depth perception was just throwing me off.
I was playing a bit of a 3D World, the new port today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was having a bit of a depth perception problem.
Yeah. But yeah, the Lego games seem to there's that depth perception thing's always weird. I think it's partially because the camera controls so weirdly in a lot of them.
I don't like the cameras in Lego games, but you got anything to say about
So
Star Wars 3?
that's my favorite Lego Star Wars game. It's in my top 3 Lego games with Marvel superheroes and Lord of the Rings. My favorite thing to do in a Lego game is like just roam around in the hub world. With Complete Saga, you can't do that because it's just basically the cantina.
Yeah. That's what I really like about Marvel superheroes.
Marvel superheroes does it really well, but there's like 2 ships you can fully explore. You can fly between them. I really like that.
That's what I fucking love about Lego Lord of the Rings is it's got the full Middle Earth basically. I'm going with Pokemon Soul Silver. I had the Poke Thing edition and it was pretty cool. Like where you could just walk around with your Pokemon. Cool shit. All right, John, what's your pick for game?
Okay, so it wasn't the very first game I ever owned. It was the third game I ever got on my first console, the Nintendo DS. And that my pick would have to be Mario Kart DS. It's my second favorite Mario Kart game. But
Which one's your favorite?
8.
Good choice.
8. I like 8 Deluxe, but
8 Deluxe. Well, I mean 8 Deluxe is what I mean, but 8 it's the same thing. But DS is my second favorite. And I think that was the first video game I truly fell in love with playing, and I was just so addicted to it. And whenever I play it, I can't put down my DS. And that's sort of the same thing with any Mario Kart with any Mario Kart game, but it was the first game I fell in love with, really.
So my favorite movie from my childhood is probably Jurassic Park. Is probably the first movie that I was really obsessed with, other than Star Wars. I really just loved all the dinosaurs and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Okay, I'm gonna not pick Star Wars because I'm not gonna be lazy here. I'm picking Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Another good choice.
I remember loving the violence in that one, with Belloc's head exploding.
Or like the guy's face melting and.
Oh, I love it.
No, yeah, it's.
And then the spikes through Indy's assistant.
All right, so my favorite. Again, this was like probably this was my favorite like when I was a little kid. Probably my favorite movie like when I was like 3. Toy Story 2.
Oh yes, good one.
Oh my
good one.
God, that that is I think the perfect family film in my opinion.
I remember when I was a kid, I didn't really like that one much, but when I rewatched it about a year ago, I just loved it.
Oh my God, it's so wonderful.
My favorite Toy Story is 3, I think.
It's funny. 3 is the best follow up to 2, and I think 4 is the best follow up to the first one, or is a good follow up to the first one.
What do you got?
Another Pixar film, WALL-E.
Oh yeah.
Which is still my favorite animated movie. I remember watching it. I watched it countless times when I was younger. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I like it.
I love the music in it.
Yeah, WALL-E score is so great.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
I need to rewatch that.
Me too. I haven't seen it in ages.
Okay, so favorite show from my childhood is probably Curious George. I mean, it's
a solid choice.
just a monkey. I still love watching the show nowadays. And it was the first movie that I saw in theaters was the Curious George movie.
Bullet, no one's passing you off. You gotta give a fucking answer here and now.
Okay, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I don't know if I prefer it to The Mandalorian. It was my favorite Star Wars show, but yeah, it's really good. It definitely makes me like the prequels a lot more. It gives a lot of depth to like Anakin and Obi-Wan. It definitely helps with adding emotion to the final battle in Revenge of the Sith. If you like watch the show, you get a better sense for their relationship than the movies ever give you.
See, that's my problem, though. I shouldn't have to watch 7 seasons of a television show
No, yeah.
when the other 2 films already exist.
I'm not saying it makes them better films. I'm saying it makes my experience watching them better, if that makes sense. Sam, you go.
I don't know if any of you have heard of this one. I actually don't. But it was a show called, it was from Cartoon Network in the early 2000s, called Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh,
I love that. Me and my brother, there's live streams on YouTube of
Yes,
of reruns. Me and my brother used to watch those.
I have the whole show on DVD. It's really good. It's a great blend of comedy and horror.
Yeah, it's like very gothic. And
It feels like a lot of the episodes are really good adaptations of like kind of classic horror movies or stories, but they're told very well in a way where, like, when you're a little kid, it's gonna freak the fuck out of you, but it's still entertaining.
It's weird. I will say, as a kid, I was very easily scared. Yet, Courage the Cowardly Dog, I didn't really find myself getting scared by that much. But I don't know. That just might be me.
What was the one scene? The Return the Slab one always got me.
The quilt one always fucked me up.
The big one was the puppet one when the puppeteer comes.
Yeah.
Because there's no like good resolution in the end. It's just really fucked up in the end. It doesn't end on a happy note. It's just really fucking disturbing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
That's my pick.
So my pick, I think, if you know me, it's very obvious. It was a show that basically defined me, my childhood. Thomas the Tank Engine, the original the original 7 seasons of Thomas the Tank Engine, I think absolutely were a large chunk of my upbringing. Like, because, it was just, it has this really relaxing kind of feel, because they're only like, each episode's only about 5 minutes long, and the model work on it is just amazing. Like, some of the best I've seen. And it has this, like, they are based on storybooks, so it obviously has this really great little storybook feeling, and you have these, like, vignettes into this world that is, very much, like, it feels like the real world, but at the same time, it has this sort of magical quality. It's hard to describe. It's like a modern fairy tale in a way.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Flushcast. Next week, we're going to be doing the Mask of Zorro, so watch that before next week's episode. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.
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 Okay, bye.
Let me write you a love song.